Let's take a second to talk about our buddies over. Who did that? Who made that noise? Is that you, Luke, again?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, 0, 0.
You're listening to the Knives Templars.
Get ready, y'all. We about to Bobby Boucher you. Bam!
I got a piece off of the wagon that Sam Houston used to take JFK to the moon.
Pinto sauce. I like that. Pinto sauce.
Pinto sauce.
You're tuned in to the Knives Templars podcast, featuring Odisir Special Sauce Pinto.
I was a mean kid.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. Eric T.R.E. Rivers.
Holy crap, I built something.
Don the Train Watson.
Never slap a man in the face chewing tobacco.
Joey the Riot Terrio.
Cochon de lait will make you smack your lips and anyone getting too close to your plate.
Luke Beer Slinger Berry.
I know there's a certain look that I'm trying to go for.
And Chip Shegman Carlisle. And now broadcasting alive, it's the Knives Templars. Coming to you live from Porkhouse Studios located in Hartselle, Alabama and other U.S. locations. This is the Knives Templars podcast. We are the coolest knife-making podcast on the planet, and we are downloaded around this big blue marble in over 24 countries. We are on air, on demand, and heard worldwide in all of your favorite apps and at knivestemplars.com.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Knives Templars. We're running around 18 or so right now, and we've got most of the crew with us tonight. We've got Don is with us coming out of Florida. We've got Eric Rivers coming over from Texas. How's the weather, Eric, tonight?
Slightly windy.
Slightly
and
windy,
hot.
so hopefully we'll be holding on to you because we know what happens when that Texas wind starts. We got Odisir coming out of Laurel, Maryland, and Chip Carlisle coming out of Hartselle, Alabama. Joey Terrio. Yeah, Joey's on the road. He's headed up to a maker's camp. Is that what he's told us, guys?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, I think he's headed to a maker's camp, so he's not on with us tonight, but wish him safe travels. And Luke Berry, he's with us tonight, but he keeps falling off the internet. Information superhighway, and he's got a brand new computer, so we'll see if he comes back into us here in just a short bit. So anyway, welcome to the Knives Templars. Just want to take a moment to also welcome in a special guest tonight, and that is Mr. Jess Hoffman. He's coming into us from Wisconsin, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
We're glad you're here. Hey, we're gonna have you in here for a while, but hey, chat with us whenever you like. Feel free. We're glad to have you here, and we'll get into the Maker's Mark. And you tell us all about those beautiful knives I've seen you making, and we certainly want to hear about. But let me tell you about the menu we've got tonight, guys. You ready to hear the menu? Are you hungry for some knife stuff?
Oh, yeah.
All right, we've got a special review from a local brewery about 30 miles down the road from me on the brew review this week. It's going to be the Goat Island Brewing Sipsy Red Ale. We're going to have some knife news for you, and I've got some really neat stuff to talk about this week because I don't like talking about violence with knives, but I've got an interesting story to tell. On top of that, I mentioned the Maker's Mark with Mr. Hoffman, and we've got some questions we're going to go through and some see what we can do to help those makers out there that have a few questions for us. As always, we want to thank our sponsors for getting us on the air and helping to keep us here. But right now, let's head into that brew review. So, guys, you ready to hear about the my beer this week?
Go ahead.
Yep.
I don't drink a lot of beer, but I enjoy a nice beer, and every once in a while. And usually, when I'm working in the shop and it's real hot outside after I put the tools down for the day, I will pop a top on a nice beer or open a bottle, and I have found one actually from a local brewery. I'll hold it up where you guys can see it. And this is the Goat Island Brewing Company out of Coleman, Alabama, and I'm drinking their Sipsy River Red Ale. And this is a very special beer to me. And wait, just one second. Let me, oh yeah. Yeah. It's a special beer. This one's special to me because I have spent the last 15 years running through the Sipsey Wilderness. It's a wildlife management area owned by the U.S. Forest Service and the public of the United States of America. And it is a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous location. So they've taken the opportunity to name their beer after this forest. So, what do they have to say about it? And they're saying that, hey, their beer won a gold medal in 2016 Alabama Craft Beer Championship. So this is a champion beer. It's an amber to red ale, and it's dark. It's dark like a dark beer. And it's balanced perfectly with malt and European hops. It's smooth and flavorful and colorful. The first thing you will notice about this beer is the fragrance, and it will remind you of walking through the nearby Sipsey River Wilderness area in the spring. I don't know if it reminds me of that. I don't know if the beer tastes like the wilderness, but I will tell you, after walking, 12, 15 miles through that wilderness, I can tell you this would be one fine tasting beer to sit around a campfire and be drinking after a long day on the trail. But, from a 12-ounce can, I poured this thing into a perfect pint glass, and it filled it up beautifully, didn't run over, it just sat there. When I drank mine, it's a dark amber brown ale with it's got a kind of a tan brown head, and I love a beer that you can cut with a knife, and this one's almost there. So it reminds me a little bit of those beautiful Irish beers that I love to drink, and it's got plenty of staying power. It stays on the palate. I tell you what, you can it stays on in a good way. It just leaves a good, nice taste. It's a nice looking beer. It's got a little nose of a sweet and slightly peppery, bready malt. And I can get a taste of a little sugar and molasses in there. So if you like a little bit of a sweet beer in those darker beers, it will take care of that requirement there. In the mouth, there's a nice toasty, malty, dark sugar flavor up front with a bit of dry hops once you take it down. And it's a rich and creamy mouth feel, so it's almost buttery when you drink it. And I'm telling you, this is a delicious beer. So as far as does it taste like the Sipsey Wilderness, it does take me back to a campfire deep in the Sipsey with Bigfoot in the trees. Knocking on those trees, baby. A crisp, cool breeze in the fall, a hunk of meat cooked on a stick, and total peacefulness under the stars. So does it taste like the Pit Sipsey? Well, I guess it does. So that's my beer review for the week. And cheers, Goat Island Brewing Sipsey River Red Ale. Here's to you. Here's to you. What are you guys drinking tonight? Anything around the table tonight?
I'm drinking Creole Blue. It's like a chocolate cacao.
Mm-hmm.
I got hooked on it a couple of years ago, and I have a cup every night. It's like a chocolate. It's not caffeine or nothing like that, but it's really nice to drink.
Just helps you set the mood and settle in and enjoy the night.
Yep, sure does.
I tell you what, that's great because I find out the older I get, the more I like just settling in and enjoying, reflecting on the day, and that's cool. Otis, are you out there with us?
Yeah, man.
Otis, you're not drinking those Coronas tonight, are you? Are you still out?
Oh, yes, I am.
You're drinking Coronas?
Oh, yeah, having one today. Well, actually, yeah.
Excellent, because last time you got a little worked up about forging the 8670 steel and beating that perfect steel, and we just want to make sure you got enough to keep you comfortable this week.
Oh, always.
That was the best episode. I loved it. I love it when Otis here gets worked up. How about you, Eric?
Oh yeah. I mentioned it in my video, so I definitely it was a fun conversation.
and then what's Eric start posting online all week? He's got a stick of 8670s beaten with a hammer
directly after
it. What do you think about that, Otis here?
Yeah, good. It's cool. I mean, I saw the video. I mean, it's cool. Eric made a beautiful knife there. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I mean, I can see. Listen, okay, let me put a small caveat there. Okay, I can see. Like, say right now I have a few strips of 5160. It is inch and a quarter wide. Okay, so it's not wide enough to make the style of knives that I like. At least inch and a half wide at the widest part. Yeah. So I can see maybe beating that one and thinning it out towards the edge, another half inch, but.
Yeah, bring your heel down.
Yep. Yeah. Working something like that. Taking something that you don't have available and making it, right?
Yep.
I am so looking forward to seeing you turn into this great guy that forges beautiful knives as a blacksmith. I know you got it in you. You've mastered the other part of it. So we're going to see a lot of old car parts turn into some beautiful knives here in the next coming year, I bet, for sure.
Yeah. I started beating a piece of leaf spring last week. I sent you guys a picture on the chat. It came out all right. I have to do a little more refining, but I can see a knife out of that.
Yeah,
right now it looks like a blackened banana.
A butter knife. Looks like a really good butter knife.
Yeah, so it needs a little more refining.
but honestly, it looks like a knife type object right now, and that's what you wanted to look at, you were headed for. And I was very tickled to see what you did because I can see you got it in you. You look at Eric when he's beating steel into shapes and just knowing how to hit it, that it's going to curve, that you're going to go back and hit it here and it's going to bend back. I mean, that just takes a lot of destruction and, trying over and over. So I could already, I think we all could already see that you've got the talent for it. So that's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're right.
You got this, man. It just takes practice. I've done so much forging at this point that, and before that, I did metalwork and woodwork prior to this. So I've always worked with stone, metal, wood, all that stuff. So, knowing how to move material, I've had a lot of practice with that. Once you get used to that, man, the amount of stuff that you can do. And the coolest part about it is like having the accomplishment of doing this last forge to finish knife was just seeing how close you can get things done with just a hammer and anvil and how clean everything turned out. Man, it's just like, it's a huge accomplishment. Like, it's satisfying, I guess you could say. Yeah. So you'll get there. Plus the way that you do stuff, I think that you're not going to have any issue getting it down and making just absolutely cool stuff that people are going to love.
And I would like to also add in here a little thing you guys don't know about me. To Forged in Fire in Uzbekistan. That's actually where the very first Forged in Fire came out of. And I was not only did I create it and produce it, I was the lead judge on Uzbekistan's Forged in Fire. It was pronounced and being able to see you do what you're doing at the level you are now, I know that you're going to be a champion. Certainly in Uzbekistan. I've done a lot of things. Otis, here. I've done a lot of things.
A lot of things. I mean, your resume is like 85 pages long. There's Santa Claus checklist, and then there's your resume.
Yeah.
Like
Speaking of Santa Claus, I've never gotten anything my entire life because I've been one big liar.
I was going to say, I can smell his resume from here.
Uzbekistan Forged in Fire. Nice. It's nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Instead of saying it will kill, I coined the phrase "it will conquer." So because we used to conquer other villages. So anyway, it's very good. I have some exciting news for you guys. Have you guys noticed that Oleg over at knifewood.com has put a new warehouse and is able to ship right out of Philadelphia? So Otis here, you can get his product probably within a day or two, but instead of being 3 weeks out, knife-wood.com is shipping out of the Philadelphia area to all points across the United States and probably other locations outside of that. And he makes some of the most beautiful wood stabilized blocks you've seen out there, whether you're looking for special burls or just certain types of wood and you want colors or naturals, earth tones, ocean tones, wacky tones. I would just want you to know that knife-wood.com, and that is knife-wood.com. And you go out there and you will see that Oleg is putting out a fine product, and he's supplying knife handle material to some of the top names in knife making. So go out and take a look, see who he's making it for, and go look him up on their sites as well, because he's got quite the real resume to show the quality products. Have you guys used any Oleg wood here recently?
Oh yeah, I use it often.
Yeah, I did not. I mean, the last one I did was that Warncliffe that I made last week.
Yeah.
With the little greenish tones to it, really nice and dry.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you guys, you cannot go wrong with knifewood.com. And don't forget to put the dash in there. That's knife-wood.com, and see what Oleg has to offer.
Yeah, I tried getting into just knifewood.com without any dashes. Go to something completely different. So, don't forget to put the dash in.
Where does it take you? It's not Oleg's OnlyFans page, is it?
I mean, it could be.
Go and find out.
That's some sexy wood. I'm telling you, it's some sexy wood.
You got to diversify your portfolio.
I will tell you, the OnlyFans appears nowhere on my vast resume. So
one of the cool things that I'm going to be doing with Oleg is I am going to be sending him probably about a dozen or so of my profiles, and he's going to make all of them. He's going to laser cut all of them out and make me like this booklet thing with them. And it's going to be pretty cool. We're working on it right now. Then see what we can come up with. He gave me a really good idea, and I was like, okay, I think I want to try this out. So we'll see how it goes.
A portfolio, or to put together like samples, or
more or less like samples. So if somebody wants to buy X amount of profiles or whatever, they can actually get it almost like a sample booklet. And so what I'll probably do is I probably won't sell them, but I've been thinking about doing my Patreon account, and I'll probably do a thing like that with my Patreon. And instead of you having to print something out, you'd actually get the wooden templates.
That's a really good idea.
Well, let me say this. You may not want to be posting them online to all of us guys anymore, because we've already got your templates. So now I got to go tear them all up. Thanks. But I will tell you, there were so many beautiful designs in that. And of course I didn't take them. They're your designs, but yeah, I see a great opportunity, because you've definitely got a creative avenue going, as well as an opportunity to share that with other people, so that we're not all going to DC Knives and making the same knives from DC, which is a great resource, but we're not all, we've used all those up. So it's time for Eric Rivers to come clean and start making some designs for the rest of the world. So that's exciting.
Yep.
Speaking of that being exciting news, let's jump into the news here. You guys ready for some knife news?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. So welcome to the knife news. Who knew that there was so much news out there for knives? And first, we're going to take you back to our chopper, who is letting us know right now that Luke Berry is still attempting to connect his computer to this episode of the Knives Templars. I've told him not to worry. It's just fine. The man went out and bought himself a nice MacBook, so just keep trying, and we'll get him in here, or we won't. Back to the news. Hey, I have an interesting story I pulled off of the internet this week. I don't ever want to post anything about knife violence. It's terrible. Gun violence, even stick or rock violence. I don't like violence in my life. But I found one here this week that I thought was cool. A man fights off a croc with a knife. And it was a quick thinking man. And I would think, Joey could probably tell you probably got to be thinking quick when there's alligators. But here's a quick thinking man down in Australia. He used his knife to fight off a crocodile on Monday. And that's actually the past Monday, after the predator lunged at his boat and locked his jaws around his friend's head. The two men were crabbing aboard a fishing vessel near Horizontal Falls in the Kimberley region of Western Australia when the crocodile attacked. A tour operator for Horizontal Falls Seaplane Adventures told Australian news outlet. Officials said it's believed that the reptile launched itself at the man and bit his head before the other man intervened. A man who says his son was involved in the incident said the croc lunged and grabbed one of them by the head while the other grabbed his knife and stabbed it away at the croc. Now, those crocs have pretty thick skulls, too. That's quite interesting. But I guess he did it enough because both men were freed and they were flown to Broome Hospital over there in Australia for evaluation and treatment. Their current condition is not immediately known, but last thing that the doctor that saw them was crikey, is what he said. He said crikey. So following the attack, wildlife officials warned the public that saltwater crocodiles are dangerous and they will launch themselves in your little vessels. So, guys, if you got crocodiles or alligators, be careful. Jess, what about big pikes? Do you have to watch big pikes?
No.
Muskie?
No.
No, just grab them right.
We've got sturgeon up here too, but they pretty much leave you alone.
Yeah. So is our knife news from around the world. Story number 2. Hey, Eric Rivers, what's going on with that YouTube challenge update?
So we've had a lot of people vote where, of course, only a few days into the voting, so we still have a little while for people to go through and vote. But what was cool about this one is we, of course, brought in a few people, and one of those people was Trolsky, and, of course, he's whooping everybody's butt right now in the voting.
Is he
polls.
really? Is he really?
Oh, yeah. And, which is cool, that a lot of people don't know this about him, but that man has been doing YouTube since like 2012 or something like that, 2011, 2012. And he's put in the work over many years, putting out knives, and he's got a really good following of loyal people, and they voted for him. So I commend that in his audience. I think that's absolutely epic when somebody has an audience that'll back him like that. And
Can I say something? I got to interrupt you again like I did last episode.
Yeah.
I love Trolsky. Man's a genius. Makes beautiful knives, beautiful audio, beautiful videos, cooks a great steak, and drinks a great bottle of brandy.
Is that a man crusher here?
No, it's not. It's not. It's just, it's RESPECT, Otis here. That's respect. Respect. But, I've got a long resume, and I do lie about my resume to you guys, but I do not lie about a good knife. And I will tell you, I looked at every knife in the submission. I love the Wolverine type armor hand.
Yep.
I loved, everybody made beautiful knives, but I'm going to tell you, I'm your friend, Eric, but your knife is the most beautiful. And I understand that Trolsky's got a large following, and I'm not knocking it. If the guy ever says, hey, buy me a steak, I'll buy him a steak, and I'll just be tickled to do it. Even the 96er, even if he doesn't need it all, and he doesn't get it for free, I'll still buy him the 96er. But the bottom line is, you made one beautiful knife. And if it doesn't win, I'm going to tell you what, I don't want to say anything inappropriate. I don't mean that. I'm just saying if it doesn't win, I can't believe it because it's that beautiful.
Well,
and Trolsky's knife kind of has some. You guys have some similar attributes to both of your knives.
Yep.
I think that yours with the excess and the etching that you did, and the wrapping, is it the copper wires and the tooth and all? Yeah, and that little starburst in it. I mean, I'm going to be so happy when you give me that knife.
Yeah, we're going to have to fight for it. Huh?
It was fun, and it was a fun challenge for me to, try and design something that hasn't been designed. You you can go on Google and every type of knife that's you could imagine has been designed, and trying to come up with something that if you Google it, it's the only one. That was a fun task, but right now it's pretty much teeter in between. Got him and then myself and Nord Artisan, a guy named Sven. He's the one that made the whip sword. Me and him are teeter in between second and third right now, and it's pretty cool though. But the thing that I really liked a lot about this challenge is, we had brought on the viewer challenge, the last one. So for the dagger challenge, so we brought on viewers to be able to compete against each other within the challenge. And, Matt Rich was one of the runner-ups for that. He made a beautiful dagger, but this go around, the amount of fantasy builds and the amount of stuff that people made is just awesome. I think we had 21 people, and there were some really cool competitive builds. There's a guy that did his whole entire sword was all CNC'd, and it was multiple pieces of brass and copper and all these different things that all bolted together, and that was really cool. And then he made a ridiculous sheath that looked like it came out of some catalog that just fit it like it was a Lego piece clicking to each other. It was crazy.
Right.
But yeah, just seeing these people do this, and then the same thing with the guy who made the Wolverine claw thing. He'd only ever made one knife.
I know.
He does blacksmithing and stuff like that, but knife making is not his thing. And man, that freaking gauntlet with those Wolverine claws was one of my favorite things of the whole competition. I want to punch stuff with it and slice up a watermelon.
I will tell you. Since it's not a traditional looking knife, but also following the theme of this particular challenge, it fits in it just fine.
Yes, it does.
And I would love to own that thing because I'm not a big Comic-Con type person or anything, but I've always loved X-Men movies and Wolverine and even the comics when I was a kid. And that's just that should be used in a movie Wolverine loses his ability to generate his bone or his metal. So, whoever the blacksmith makes him that he can use just temporarily until he can get his powers back. I don't know. It was just really cool. It was the coolest. If I ever need a suit of plate armor, that's the guy to go to.
Yeah. I mean, he did a great job. And the fact that the knuckles and the finger bumps and all that were so defined all the way through there was really cool. And I got to give him credit for that. But yeah, this definitely pushed a lot of us, and it pushed some people out of their comfort zones, people that hadn't made any type of fantasy thing, people who make more traditional knives. They make a lot of buoys, a lot of, drop point, just simple EDCs that have real clean lines. And then they had to go and try and figure out how they were going to make some fantasy build. And it pushed a lot of their limits on what they were comfortable with making. And I appreciate it whenever knife makers have to get pushed out of their comfort zone and try and come up with something unique and not their style, which is pretty cool. And then, then apply their style to that. So it is completely unique and individual to them, but also outside of the realm of what they typically do. I love it when people do that.
Yeah. So when you did the voting, and I did vote, and I will tell you, they said, well, what is your recommendation for the next Knife Makers Challenge? Y'all recall that's in there in the voting, I would assume.
Yep.
So I filled in the blank. Do you guys know what I put in? You ready?
I'm going to go with chopper.
Nope.
Then it was a spear?
Nope. Here we go.
Oh, really?
A petty knife.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool. Oh, yeah, because you filled in the other.
Yeah.
other thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I learned the term petty knife this past couple of weeks when I made a knife for somebody. And I'm like,
Oh yeah.
oh, it's a petty knife. So I want to see the petty knife challenge, which is basically the mid-length kitchen utility knife. So we'll see if you guys how there you go. Yeah, Jess is holding one up. The petty knife challenge. It just sounds cool.
Yeah, the petty knife challenge. That would be actually a good play on words.
Yeah, I think everybody, when they see that one, he'll just go, what? But anyway, it's cool. It's cool. Well, I'm glad to see that's going, and I'm glad to see you up where you are. And I do believe there is some, popularity has a lot to do with this as well. And didn't you say that the winners kind of go up to another category or something after they won?
Yes.
Oh,
so the top four from this challenge will compete with the winner of the current top five. So the judges, there's 5 of them. The top 4 from this challenge will compete against the winner of the judges on the next challenge that we do, and they will be judges for the 20 knife makers as well.
Right. Well, excellent. Well, guys, that's all the news. 2 weeks. We'll have some more. Hopefully it won't be crocodile attacks in people's heads. Hey, Don, what have you been up to down there in Florida the past couple of weeks?
I've been making some knives, but I've really been enjoying this cool weather we got, man. I woke up this morning, it was like 49 degrees. So
yeah.
It's been really good down here for us.
Were you able to find your parka from 1972 last time you needed one? In Florida?
I tell you what, man, for a Floridian like me, if it's 70 degrees in the shade, man, I have to grab a coat. That's just how bad I am. But it's been nice, though. It's been really nice. I've been looking forward to it. So
it's all relative, though, because when you get those people from Massachusetts coming down there in the summer and they look like they're all about to have a heart attack, and you guys are just running around like there's nothing. So it's cool. I'm glad y'all are getting a little bit of cool weather. We've all needed a break. So you've put out some pretty knives here lately. What you been making?
Well, I got a couple orders for a couple knives this week, so I'm gonna go back to. I got a couple stainless knives I'm gonna be making. So I'm gonna be putting some micarta on them. One on micarta, one's gonna be a poured scale that I do, and a little EDC knife, something kind of clean, simple, So not too big.
I've seen kind of a movement lately towards people making knives on the smaller scale, 7 inches or less, things that they can kind of, it's hard to wear a 9 or 10 inch overall length blade every day walking around. I think people sometimes might feel intimidated by seeing somebody like that because they don't understand our passion for what we do. But I've seen more of a trend towards people starting to make some smaller knives. As a matter of fact, I've had some people request some really nice leather sheath, just miniature knives that look like the full-size knives. And I'm going to try and do some of that for some folks that are some backpacking people. So I'm tickled with that. I don't know if that's what I would say would be an everyday carry type knife, but I have seen that trend going down. So it's kind of cool. Looks like you're doing some of that.
Yeah, been nice.
You taking care of the pool for us?
I'm fixing to get I called a guy in. He came out and gave me a quote on a new liner for my pool. So by the next month, I'll be getting a new liner in there. So getting it cleaned up and getting it done before spring for next year.
You don't have that dye that turns blue in your pool, do you?
No, I don't.
Oh, good. I just wanted to make sure if I ever come down, I didn't want to have to worry about that. So.
Oh, good.
So, Luke, are you connected with us?
I'm connected. Unfortunately, I have a pretty low battery, so I don't know how long I'll be able to stick in
gosh. Here. Well, let's let you get it in, man. I tell you what, last time you were on, off, and on and off. So
I know.
No, I'm just saying, when I went to put that episode together, I hope I put you in the right spots because I had like 17 recordings of Luke, and I spent literally a half a day piecing them into the episode. And so if someone said, Luke, that's a knife you made, and you went, no, it's not my fault. I just did put your audio in the right place. So we don't lose you. What's going until we lose you again? What's going on at? And if we do lose you, you make sure you upload this stuff, buddy.
I will.
What's going on at Pops? I saw you got married recently.
Well, no, I unfortunately had to miss our guild meeting that we held at Pops last weekend. I was a groomsman in a wedding over in South Carolina, which I'm glad I was able to attend. It was very beautiful. It was in the mountains in South Carolina.
Blah, 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 blah. Did they have good beer? Did they have good beer?
As far as I can remember, yes.
All right. Did you find your future wife while you were there?
Oh, no, none of that.
Good. Luke, are you betrothed to anybody? I don't think I've ever asked.
At the moment, I am only committed to knife making. That's just kind of what I'm focused on at the moment.
Well, with a face like that, I can understand why. So don't feel bad about it. I think that's just your calling is knife making.
It's like a beaver chewed on it, right?
Well, I don't know. I'm sure, just like me, your mama thinks you're beautiful.
She sure does.
Hey, you're a good-looking guy. Especially, I like that. I'm digging that haircut. I was surprised you didn't come back with a future wife from that particular event.
Nah.
So what have you been doing in knife making, buddy?
Well, right before I left for the wedding, I was actually gifted a 12-ton hydraulic press. So I have been frantically trying to get everything together to start squishing together some hot steel.
I'd have one question, though. Who gave that to you? Who gifted that to you?
Hopefully someone that will be on the show.
No. Don't say their name.
Okay.
Do they have room for one more friend?
That I do not know. I was only aware of one press that was available.
All right. Well, I don't care. Just find out if they got room for one more friend because they've got a good heart. So
they do. They told me that there was a lot of people that helped them get started in knife making, and he wanted to be the same sort of individual for me, help me get started. Wow. So
that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Very thankful. I never thought I'd get my
Trollsky. I can't. Trollsky is just the nicest guy. For him to send that over to you like that, I mean, bunga. That's just great. No, it wasn't Trollsky. Let me guess. Was it one of the four owners?
Definitely not.
Wasn't one of the four owners. Who was it then?
It was Mr. Joshua Fisher. Very thankful for the man.
It was Don?
Yeah, it was Don.
All Don did was sharpened your knife when you were there. Don.
Hey, he was a great help at that.
If you want to be his friend, you're going to have to do better than sharpening knives. This guy's got friends out there that give him presses. Lucky man. So, how's the lion killer thing going? I've seen lots of entries or lots of
Walter Searles released
submitting their beautiful knives.
Yeah, a lot of really good entries so far into the so-called competition. I made one that I didn't believe was of quality enough for the competition, so I kept that for myself. Don't know if y'all saw my Instagram post today. I know Don saw it. He dropped a comment on it. But I did actually a set of scales that I got from Don. It was maple burl, I believe.
Yeah.
And I did some brass liners on it with a tapered tang, full distal taper. Works really well on deer meat. I tested that out today. It definitely got the job done for that.
Well, catch us up on that as well, because I do believe that did you went out and shot a deer? Did they put that out in like one of those dog pen cages for you to take, or
no high fences over here, man. Just
like a 9x9 high fence, and said, "Go, Luke, go." Yeah,
jump in there with a spear and get it done.
Where'd you get your deer, Luke? Where'd you get your deer?
I was over at a buddy's house. He lives over in Buford.
Oh, so you got it real close to where you're at.
Yeah, not very far. I was very thankful to be able to go over there and harvest one on his property. I told him I have a bunch of deer meat for you, so if I give you some meat, just let me come back.
That is wonderful. Now, after you killed the fawn, did you take the mother as well?
No font included. Only the big ones.
It was a beautiful deer I saw. I actually was quite impressed that you were the first guy I knew that took a deer this year. So, why I give you a hard time?
Why is that?
Your parents raised you right. I haven't seen anything wrong with you that I can make fun of, so I just kind of have to wing it.
Not yet, at least.
All right. Well, maybe we'll find out these things. I will tell you. Here's. I've been down in South Alabama all week, but I made up for it today. Today, I cranked out 2 knives because I've got one that I've got to get to a guy that's going to take it opening gun season down in South Alabama. So he wants to have a chip knife to do that with. And then while I was at it, I was like, oh, wow, I've got this forge and I've got all these cool tools that you guys turned me on to over the last year of expanding. I was like, I can make more than 1 knife at a time. Watch this. So I probably make several more than I did, but I cut out a second one today in about a half hour and was ready to grind it. Within an hour, I had a knife to fire. And so I did that. But while I was at it, this is the rest of my day. This is the exciting part. I picked up a crossbow. Now, I've never been bow hunting, and I'm going to buy a bow after bow season as soon as the prices, will come down. But I have a person that loaned me a very, very nice bow, and I've got a target out back, and he gifted me a brand new blind that I'll use at some point in time. So today I ended up with a crossbow, a blind, target, some bolts, and I'm going to sight that in tomorrow, and I'm ready to go because we've got some property down in South Alabama. A few weeks ago, we went down there and built a bridge with a couple telephone poles and ran the cross beams across it and seeded all the land. So I'm eager to go down there and harvest a deer this year. But here's the piece de la resistance, if I said that right. You ready, guys?
Yeah, man.
I went by Byford's here in Hartselle, Alabama, and they are ordering for me a SIG P320 compact 9mm. Be here in 5 days. I'm excited. So, yeah, actually got a great price on it. So, it's just been an exciting day. I ended up with a crossbow, targets, a gun, made 2 knives, and got to drink my last 2 Sipsey River red ales, and I gifted one to the guy that was coming out doing my termite annual inspection. So he was tickled with that as well. So it's just been a good day. It's been a wonderful day. But that's all I got. Otis, what have you been up to?
Been busy myself as well. Since we last been together.
Yeah.
I got to make 3 knives. I got to see a judge from Forged in Fire who judged my knives.
Oh, yeah, that was wonderful.
I got to be at the Bill Moran Museum and Knife Show past weekend. All around a real great experience,
You look like a happy man in pictures this past week or so.
Oh, yes, I was. When you present your knife to a friend or a family member, everybody says, oh, it's cool, it looks nice, it's beautiful, but it's like asking Quasimodo's mom if he is good looking, right? So you really want...
Don't bring me into this, Otis here. Do not bring me into this.
So you really want some exterior opinions, right? So I got lucky that when I got to the show, who's there? Jay Nielsen himself, right?
Yeah.
And after the line of autographs winded down, I was able to come up to the table, have a little chit chat, and I had him judge and critique 7 of my knives. And I am happy to say, man, that he really liked it. He grabbed every knife and he was rubbing his fingers on the handle and the guard and looking at the fittings and blade alignment, edge geometry and everything. And the best compliment that he could ever give me was, when you put a table next here, you will have no trouble selling anything that you have. Right?
We all knew that. And that's wonderful for you to get that reassurance from him.
And, it was really nice. I mean, he looks like a tough person on the show, but in person, man, the guy is, he's, for lack of a better word, he seems very, very nice and approachable. Okay. I had no misgivings, coming closer and talking to him.
So when are you going to have him on this show?
I'll give it a try.
I know you checked out my knives, and that's the last time we talked. But can we get you on our podcast?
I know that you were on Forged in Fire, but I've got something bigger and better to discuss with you.
And it was really nice. And I had several. I didn't know that Maryland had this many, but there's a lot of mastersmiths in Maryland, and they had a lot of them. At that little show. It's a small show, right? It's it's only, I think, the 7th edition of the show, so it's been growing. And I had several of them just kind of critique my knives, and I had one of them guys. I hand him a knife with inside the sheets and everything, and he draw the knife. He look at the knife, he look at me. He look at the knife, he look at me. I don't know what was that about. He was
no way this little bald-headed man who flunked my car can make these beautiful knives. You actually inspected his car, Otis here.
Maybe you never know.
Well, let me ask you this: what and if you don't mind, you don't have to answer. Did they find anything wrong with your knives?
Not really.
Good. That's what I was expecting. Yeah.
Not really. The only thing that I can say that he said, Jay Nielsen said, was in one of my knives where I did my museum fit, on the bottom part where your indicator goes, had a little bit of extra material there than the sides and the top. But other than that, I mean, it was, he really liked it.
Well, did you tell him that I'm an artist and how dare you? That wasn't a moment. That wasn't the time for that.
That wasn't the time for that. I mean, I was, I was just happy that somebody of that caliber can just, handle something of mine and give me a good critique. Right.
Well, I'm happy for you.
Yeah. Oh, I was happy. I was tickled to death, man. On the drive home, I had a smile ear to ear. My wife was looking at me like, wow, you're happy right now. I said, oh, yeah.
I can see Otis here driving down the highway outside Washington, D.C., holding a knife out the window with his car going, he loved my knife. He loved my knife. And all the people can see is some guy screaming something they can't hear, and he's waving knives at the other cars going down Washington, D.C. highway.
So did he do an edge retention test on him? If he smashed him through some antler and blocks of ice?
He had none of that stuff, right? So I wish I handled them that bigger one. I did mustard edge. He really liked that one. I mean, he was fiddling that one and shaking it in his hands and feeling it and the weight and the balance and everything. He really digged that one. I mean, it was, like I said, I was happy, really happy.
That's awesome, man. Great knife maker, for sure.
Yeah. And I got to join. Yeah, I got to join the Bill Moran association there. So next year, when they have the knife show, I'll be able to have my own table, right? Good. And put all my stuff in there. Yeah,
that's
pretty
awesome,
good.
Man.
That's
absolutely awesome.
And then this week I got to make my own lion killer, and yesterday I got to go through a lot of deer meat with it. Beautiful slicer.
Why did you get to go through a lot of deer meat? Did you take a deer, or did you just go to the freezer?
No, I at a friend's farm. I put a boat right through the rib cage of a big old fat doe, and I do all my processing. I do all my the processing myself, right?
Yeah.
Gutted and quartered over there. Put it on a ice chest, covered with ice, left it in there for 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then last night when I got home, I went to work on it and nicely packaged and ready for the vacuum sealer and the deep freezer.
Did you use one of the Chris Jones anus knives on that day?
No.
Isn't he the maker of the original maker of the anus knife?
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that ain't nothing to it, man. You know, I've done enough that you don't really need a special knife for the anus. You know, you can use your regular Skinner.
So talk to us a little bit about this anal preparation surgery, hemorrhoid thing you're doing with down there. What is the...
Well, the problem is you have the I think the proper term is column, right? Of the deer, and there's usually something in there, right?
What's
and
in there? What's in there?
A big old green turd, usually.
Oh,
right?
Turd removal. Okay, gotcha.
So you don't want to just go ripping into it, and then you have a little green M&M floating on your meat, and it's not good for you,
gotcha.
right? So you got to cut around and pull everything in. No mystery to it, and remove all the innards.
Yeah, I think this is called proctology.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I could have been a surgeon,
Sounds like it. Sounds like it.
Instead, you fill all the surgeons' cars when you try and get them inspected.
I'll be taking them leaf springs because nobody hammers already made steel as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, man. I had a lot of fun this week. It was cool.
It sounds like you're back because last time you was a little down. Your son had taken off, and he's doing well in the military. I've seen his happy pictures, and it sounds like Otis Sear is back and happy. And I know you love and miss your son and proud of him at the same time. But that's wonderful because I hear Otis Sear back again. Can't beat that with a stick.
Yeah, one thing that I did get imported was this massive monster file guide.
Yeah.
I have never seen one of these made in America. I had to special order it from Brazil when my sister was coming in last week. And I will be happy to use this thing, man. It's just, I mean, the listeners can't see it, but take a look at that monster there. Okay, it's
how we can't see you right now because your connection speed's a little low, but we'll take your word for it. What do you pay for? Yeah, put it in the chat. What do you pay for a file guide like that out of Brazil? If you don't mind me asking.
Because my sister brought it to me, all I had to do was pay for the purchase there. It was $150.
Well, that's not bad.
The problem if you buy it from here and they ship it here, it's probably going to double in price due to shipping and handling and whatever. So I don't think it is worth it if somebody wants to buy it. The problem I see with most file guides is that they are too narrow. Even those that use what you call it, the insert, the carbide inserts, they're very narrow. So I was having trouble putting on the shoulders for my Tang because the file kept rocking side to side. This one is almost an inch wide, right? So the file sits perfectly flat on top on both sides.
It doesn't bend or flex. Yeah, that's wonderful. No bending or flexing.
No bending or flexing. So this is each one is almost an inch square, right? So it is a monster. It's pretty beefy.
So how are you going to kill a bear with that tiny little antler knife you made?
Oh yeah, that was my answer to your challenge. You made
it
me
was beautiful,
a few weeks back.
The first remark I saw somebody made is, "Otis, how are you going to kill a bear with that?" When we talked, last time it was like I only make big knives for the bears, and it's like
here's the secret.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
This one is meant for killing stuffed bears.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Somebody on a trail cam took a picture of a bear with their Multicam and down in South Alabama, about 40 miles from where my deer camp is, and I have never seen such a hairy elephant in my life. I didn't realize that they came that big down in the Florida strain. I've seen bears that big come out of the North Carolina mountains and Tennessee River area and everything, but gosh, it was huge. So I went out and bought a 9mm. I'm not even going to try and fight it with a knife, because the record for stabbing a bear before you die is -1. It just doesn't happen. So,
well, I have something to tell you this week. Talking about the knife news and stuff. There was this guy up in somewhere hiking, and he got attacked by a grizzly or something.
Wow!
And he got chewed up pretty bad. But his friend got to jump on the bear and beat him off out of his friend. So I don't know if he had a knife or not.
Two young guys.
Yeah.
Two young guys.
Yeah. You saw that, right? Yeah. I mean, if he had a knife, he could have had a nice, beautiful bear rug by now.
A holy bear rug.
Yeah, I mean,
I saw The Revenant, and I saw that he finally took care of that bear in that movie with his big knife, and he didn't look too good afterwards. So I don't know.
Hey, they still won the fight.
Yeah, still won the fight. That's all that counts at the end.
Yeah, man.
So
just
hey,
like the
well, that's all. That's all the news. That's all the activities. So I have a feeling it's time for us to do our favorite thing every 2 weeks, and that's going to the Maker's Mark by Pop's Knife Supplies.
Pop's Knife Supply was started 40 years ago and is owned by 4 professional knife makers: Andy Roy of Fiddleback Forge, Alan Searles of W.A. Searles Knives, Joey Berry of J.B. Knife Works, and Dirk Lutz of Dirk Lutz Knives. Make a great team of owners carrying on the traditions and business started by James Poplin. Over 4 decades in business is a testament to the best customer service with same-day shipping on weekdays. Pops only charges actual shipping, and any shipping differences are refunded on your orders. Everything you need to make knives, from grinding, steel, pin stock, heat treating, and more, can be found at Pops. Visit them at popsknife.supplies. And now, back to the show.
All right, guys. Well, hey, Jess Hoffman, how are you this evening, sir?
Doing wonderful.
And you are coming to us from Wisconsin this evening as part of the Pops Maker's Mark, and we've known about you for a few months now. You've been in our Pops Knife Supply group on not Facebook. What is that? Instant Messenger? Facebook Instant Messenger? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So we finally have been able to get you on here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Live up in Shawano, Wisconsin, so I'm about half an hour west of Green Bay. That's anybody has an idea where that is.
We do.
Back in 2011, I went to YouTube to try to learn how to sharpen a knife, and fell down this rabbit hole, and have been trying to dig myself out of it ever since. And it was YouTube that kind of got me to the point where I saw that people were making custom knives, and something I wanted to try.
Did you ever get that knife sharpened?
Yes, I did. Yes. No problem sharpening knives now.
I like to ask the question. What was your YouTube channel? Who'd you watch? Who you followed on YouTube?
To tell you the truth, I don't even remember one specifically. I just know that it was just kind of surfing YouTube that got me going, or got me pointed in the right direction. And then I at one of the local gun shows, I was set up there at the time. I was a firearms manufacturer, and I found this older gentleman, Ron Hembrook, and he had custom knives. And I sat and talked with him, and he kind of told me how he made them and stuff. And that was kind of my first introduction into custom knives. But that was probably back in 2010 2009 or 2010 probably.
Cool.
And you know, we can find your knives at J Hoffman Knives. That's JHOFFMAN knives.com. And how long have you had your website up? Because this is a beautiful website.
That one has been, I redid that one probably 2 years ago. Otherwise, I've had the website for probably 7 or 8 years.
You can hear, what's your favorite piece of equipment that you've got?
I like my grinders, and I have a hard time picking between. I think probably my favorite one is my Burr King BBA 20.
Yeah,
It's
I was
just
going to say you've got
machine.
you've got a ton of Burr King equipment here. That's a big old. How big is the wheel on that? I guess
That's
it's
a
a 20 inch wheel. Yeah. So do you do a lot of hollow grinds, or what would you say defines your styles?
I don't know that I have defined my style yet. I do a lot of flat grinds for my kitchen knives and stuff that. For smaller knives, yeah, I do put that big 20-inch hollow on.
So have you been involved with, are you involved in any of the particular societies or any of the professional organizations associated with knife making?
So I am a founding member and the past secretary of the Midwest Knife Makers Guild, which is a 501c3. We are a teaching organization.
Yeah.
And that's all. It's really set up just to help makers improve.
Wow. Well, I will tell you, I'm going to Table 2DD at Blade Show June 2nd, 4th, 2023. Shake your hand because I definitely want to see these knives. So you've got, I'm looking at your schedule. You've got 5 or 6 things lined up for this year from Ohio, Georgia, Wisconsin, Minnesota. You have really taken this to another level. Now, is this your full-time job, or because it certainly looks like it?
No, it's just a part-time gig. I do this year. I'm set to do about 130 knives.
Oh wow!
But, yeah, it's still part-time. 6 years, 6 months, and 3 days until retirement. Not that I'm counting.
Yeah, I've got about 7 or 8 years left myself. I see that you are really involved in the knife making community. I've seen some of your YouTube videos that you've put out. You seem to be a master of what you're doing. So here, I've been asking questions as I'm learning to become a better knife maker. And I'm just curious, everything you do is all freehand ground. You're beyond any jigs or anything like that? Or what is your method for making your knives?
Yeah, I was taught freehand. And that's pretty much what I've done. I do use a jig for one of my kitchen knives for my my Glossric. It's a vegetable cleaver, but it's kind of funny because the guy that taught me how to freehand grind a couple of years ago, he's like, "Hey, I bought a jig. This thing has changed my life." So I went and bought a jig. And it didn't change my life. I use it for that one model pretty much.
Now, is the bowler, is that a particular model that you make? BOHLER?
That's steel. That's Bowler Uddeholm, the steel manufacturer.
Okay, because I'm looking at one with, it says macadamia. And I'm just looking at the quality of the grinds. It's just so smooth. It's transition. It's almost like they're molded rather than tooled and ground out and so on. It's just such a unique. What is? Do you? I guess you mentioned the guildness, that and the other. Do you have a journeyman or master or anything along those lines?
No.
Just taking a look at what you got. Wow.
Yeah, Yeah. I presented my knives to get my signatures for the Knife Makers Guild at Blade Show this year. So next year I can apply to be a probationary member in the guild.
Okay.
But yeah, I've got some improvements to do, before I get that rating.
So with that, I mean, I certainly am a member of the American Blade Society, and I'm so far away from that. I've only been a member for a couple of years, but even from a skill set standpoint, I look at it and I think there's a nice professional designation, and it's great. I would never say anything negative about achieving those designations, but I've seen there's so many great, excellent makers that just haven't taken that particular step. Even like with Otisier's knives, it just seems like it'd be such an easy transition. Of course, I did talk to one of the 49 or 50 or whatever guys that got their journeyman this particular year, a record year, but it doesn't look like to me that you would have too much difficulty stepping over a particular area, just given your skill set. It's just so professional looking.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I see myself a long ways away from getting one of those. Number one, I don't forge. I'm a stock removal guy, so that's a big part right there.
Yeah. Well, you're an extremely humble guy too. I can also tell from that. What do you think, Eric? Have you taken a look at these? You're welcome.
Oh yeah, absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful knives.
I have a technical question on. I've been looking through your Instagram account, and most all of your knives, they have a curved plunge line right next to the recast. So there's a little. I always thought about doing that. I like it. It looks pretty. I just don't know how to go about it. I mean, I've done it accidentally before, where I'm pushing the blade and pulling at the same time towards a one direction, right? So it makes those half circle lines. I don't know if that's the same thing that you do, but I'm scared to death of messing something up.
And those grind lines, you had said you did it by accident, and that's kind of how I happened upon it. But I grind backwards from what most people do, and then I start at the tip, and I grind flat all the way back to my ricasso, and I just grind a quarter inch at a time. And what that allows me to do is it allows me to always have a very flat index against my platen or against my wheel. I don't get any facets or anything like that in my grinds, and I don't ever get the 2-inch mark in my grinds because of that. And that curved plunge line is kind of an effect of how I grind and how I work that grind back to the plunge line.
Yeah, it looks nice. It's a very nice detail. It's all my plunge lines are straight, and lately I've been using a lot of file guides just so I can have a perfect crisp plunge line, right? But the way you do it in there, probably freehand, no file guide or anything, and it looks nice. It is something that I would like to try at some point. Congratulations! It's really nice.
Well, thank you. That's a great compliment.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, Jess, you also have a YouTube channel too, right?
I do. I put up a couple of videos here and there, and I live out in the sticks, and we just recently got internet to the point where I can actually watch YouTube and download stuff. Otherwise, it was always, having to go to my wife's store and use her internet or something like that. But and I've got a video on there of how I grind, and I know I've taught that at a couple of hammer-ins just because it's kind of bass-backwards to how most people grind.
What's your YouTube channel again?
I think it's J. Hoffman Knives,
J.
if I'm not mistaken.
J. Hoffman.
Yeah, I believe so.
I never remember that stuff.
Let me see.
You don't sit there and look at your own YouTube videos?
No,
yeah, I get it. I think I found it at Jazz Hoffman. Just Jazz Hoffman. Yeah. All right, man. Oh, there it is.
Yep, you've got a new stalker, Jess.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I got you. So you got a new sub on your YouTube and a new follow on Instagram. So yeah,
cool.
And
I like to do that.
Otis here, do you go to Blade Show or?
I went for the first time this past one. Planning on going on the next, and
Okay, cool. Well, I hope I can see you down there.
Yeah, man. Now we're on the same chat group, so we can see where you are, and I'll swing by and say hello.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll just bring some fold out chairs and sit down with you when you're not looking. We'll sell our knives. You've already paid for the table. I know that Blade Show frowns on that, but I mean, hey,
whatever.
So are you going to be? So have you had a table at Blade Show before?
Yeah. This is I think 2018 was my first.
Okay. So do you go down in in the evenings when everybody, what do you call it, when everybody goes down into the
I've gone to the pit once.
Pit, there we go, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. To me, whenever I'm done with the show for the day and you go and get dinner, and I'm just so tired that by the time I get done with dinner, I don't feel like driving back to the Waverly. This year I actually splurged and I got a room at the Waverly.
Right.
So I can just walk out of my hotel room and walk into the pit. So I'm really hoping to get down there a little more.
I have found that Blade Show is a great place to lose weight and get a lot of exercise walking outside of the event.
Oh yeah,
that is true. Yep.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about once you leave Blade Show, you can walk for hours. It seems like, and eventually find
Actually, I got to walk for 3 days.
To a steakhouse after you get done leaving.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Spend an hour and a half walking to a steakhouse that's a quarter mile away because you walk to Atlanta. I just say I have no sense of direction in the big city there, Jess. So,
Mr. Rivers and I sitting over there waiting for Mr. Chip to show, and man, I was hungry though.
Just waiting.
Just waiting.
So Luke, you just showed back up.
I didn't go to the pit because I drove 14 hours to get there. I was tired.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're long days.
Is Luke with us again?
I am here. I am back.
All right. So now I've only got 3 Luke recordings to put together in this episode. How many? How are you back on the iPad?
I am, yeah, but I got up enough
far.
charge to hopefully be here for a little bit longer than last time.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, Luke, we've got Jess on from jhoffmanknives.com. He's been at Blade Show. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to meet him personally at Blade Show when you've worked there, but Luke works over at Pops, Jess, and when we call over there, he feverishly fills ours and other people's orders. And I was just curious if you used Pops at all over your knife making career.
I just got
cool
stuff in. So I've got a lion killer drawn out on a piece of steel, and I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna do something a little different with it. But this
is that micarta?
G3, and it's
okay.
It's kind of like micarta, but it's got fiberglass in it, like G10.
I got you.
But it's a phenomenal.
Did Luke sign that when he shipped it? Because he always signs my stuff.
He did
Your friend
not.
Luke.
Drilled holes in the middle of some of the pieces.
Yeah, I did that one on purpose. Yeah.
Luke, why do you always write Carlisle on my box and not like, hey, Chip, have a good one, Chip?
That is for our label printing process, so that we.
I know what it's for, but how come y'all never sign your boxes? Have a great day, Chip, Luke, or McKenna. I mean, it's just Carlisle.
Something I might need to implement here with future.
What do you do? What do you do with Don's boxes? That's what we want to know.
I write Watson on it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fine.
Might
Just
throw in a sticker here or there.
Jess Luke put in a I like those new stickers, by the way. Jess Luke put in a bat phone. You didn't get a sticker?
No. I just got an order with a whole bunch of G3 and some micarta, and all they sent me was a bill. No sticker.
Luke.
It wasn't
McKenna. It wasn't McKenna. It was obviously Luke that forgot the sticker.
That's a possibility.
What day did you place the order? That'll be the true difference maker.
What day of the week?
I probably got the bill sitting here.
Oh, perfect. Here we go. Down and dirty. I just need to see the signature down on the bottom.
And I got some of the toasted wheat. Canvas micarta.
Yeah, the coarse canvas. That stuff's really pretty.
Yeah.
It was McKenna.
It was
McKenna.
Oh my god! All right. Hey.
Don't you be talking bad about McKenna, Luke. You just have to take one for the team.
I'm not. It's just not me.
I'm not saying she didn't do her job. I'm just saying I do mine.
There you go. That's the
first.
Luke, are you going to put two stickers in there on this next order?
Most definitely.
Well,
Gotcha.
I'll add it to my bandsaw then, and I've got plenty of pop stickers out there already.
Yeah, I see the 2022 Blade Show sticker.
Yep. That's up there. I don't know, a couple other ones probably.
Well, but we have a couple new stickers out right now. We have one. What does it say, Chip? It's at your service, something to that degree.
It's your sticker, Luke.
It is, but I see it every day. I put it in as many boxes as I can. But
Luke, it's your sticker.
It goes right
no
over
excuse.
my head. We have one to that degree, and then also a Lion Killer sticker. Both of which.
How come I don't have a Lion Killer sticker yet?
Because you ain't made one yet.
Included one in your box.
Huh. Every knife I make's a Lion Killer.
Which is absolutely hilarious, because the first time I ever held one of Chip's knives, it was one of your little the little small ones.
The
I was
fleshers?
like,
I remember
yeah,
that.
the flesher. I held it in my hand and I was like, wow, this looks way bigger on camera. Like
she said. That's what she said, man.
Now. You sound like another podcast, brother. Hey, and I'm joking. That's fine. Hey, yeah, I resemble that. Yeah, I did feel woefully inadequate standing amongst your beautiful knives, guys. Here, I'm like, look at my knife. Look at my knife. Look at my knife. It's like, but the neat thing is, I made
perfect
a new
pocket knife, though.
Well, I made a new sheath for that knife, and I gave it to somebody who has put it in a lighted trophy case, and I'm like, do what? That knife? So, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, I guess. I don't know. It wasn't an ugly knife. It was one of those that I started on a Saturday.
No, it was a good looking knife. It was just way smaller than I thought it was.
I started it on a Saturday morning at like 7:30 a.m. and I finished it up, at like 11 o'clock that night. I just wanted to make a knife in one day, and that's what turned out. And that was the beginning of the fleshers. Matter of fact, I'm making a flesher right now. I haven't made one in a couple months, and it's kind of fun making it now that I haven't got like 27 to do. So I don't know.
What'd you do, like 26 in a row?
Oh, it was terrible. What's your do you have a particular knife that you enjoy making or that you make more than others, Jess, that people tend to like?
My favorite knife to make is my Antrim, and it is probably my poorest selling knife.
Oh,
But
really?
for some reason, I just love the hell out of making them.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, man.
And you
my Wicklow kitchen model, which is, like that petty that I just showed you, that's probably my best selling. And
Now-
I like making them.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the Antrim 9 1/4. It's a beautiful knife. It looks like a lion killer in itself. It resembles a little bit of the lion killer.
Yeah,
but,
it's quite a bit. It's not as tall of a blade as the lion killer.
yeah, I'm surprised you said it doesn't sell a lot. It looks like a perfect knife. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, matter of fact, when I look at the pictures, I'm looking at one, and I'm actually really interested in the wood you've got on the handle. It's just gorgeous. It's the lighter tan one that you've got on your website. Now I can't seem to get a name off of it, but there's a darker one and a lighter handle, but just gorgeous piece of wood. That's wonderful. This
is
Go ahead.
finding handle material. I love looking for burls and stuff like that, and I get a lot of it local. So.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Well, hey, you got some gorgeous grinds on that steel of yours, and let's take a second to talk about our friends over at Ameribraid Grinders.
Hey listeners, let's take a moment today to thank one of our sponsors for today's show, and that sponsor is Ameribraid Grinders. Eric and Kevin over at Ameribraid have sold thousands of these grinders, and they are super nice guys, and their customer service is excellent. I would know. I've been personally using their 2x72 grinder now for 2 years, and it has changed my knife making to a whole new level. So if you're in the market for or looking to upgrade from that 1x30 or 2x42, then give Ameribraid a look. There you'll find they have 3 packages of grinders to offer. They have a mastery package, a foundations package, and a get grinding package, in which all of them come at different price points. So I'm sure you'll find something that'll suit your needs as a knife maker. Also, Ameribraid has a ton of innovative attachments for their grinders. So listeners, you can find out about all of this at www.ameribraid.com. Go give them a look, see what they have to offer today. And now, back to the show.
Hey, welcome back. So we're talking to Jess Hoffman from Jess Hoffman Knives, or J. Hoffman Knives, excuse me, up in Wisconsin. And what would you say is, you said it didn't really anything that defines your style or whatever, but, you've got some great accolades and a resume as far as the things that you've done up there. How big is the knife making community up in Wisconsin? And it's probably pretty big, because I know once winter sets in, you got to head to the basement of the shop, or it's just a long winter.
Yeah, there's a ton of really high quality makers right in the area here. Ken Coates, who is probably one of the better slip joint makers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Martin is down in Waterford, and Peter Martin, he makes pretty much whatever he wants, but he's making high dollar folders, and he's pretty much been my mentor. He's the guy that's been teaching me, and he's my go-to when I have a question.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's quite a few quality makers right here in the area.
I would think so, because, being the industrial belt of the Midwest, I would think there's a lot of wonderful people with that, come out of the tool and die or the industries and things that they do up there. And they just seem to apply that. I noticed it when I lived up in the Midwest, in Ohio, Detroit, and, those particular areas. You had some wonderful, wonderful metal craftsmen up in those areas, just because there's so much talent that just comes out of that areas with regard to metalworking and so on. So it's pretty cool. Well, guys, let's go ahead and let's put it to a vote, as we always do. No one's ever failed the vote, but there's always a first time. So, Jess, are you ready, regardless of which way it goes?
Yeah, I'm ready. I can.
All right. I'll go last. Odysseer.
Aye.
Is he okay? He's a Knife Templar. Odysseer
man.
says yes. Eric Rivers.
Absolutely.
All right. Don.
Oh yeah.
Luke, don't try and top that.
Oh, there's no way I can. But you do have my vote. I have an I.
And does he get a couple stickers next time?
Most definitely. Of course.
All right. Right. And since I can't top Macho Man Randy Savage Don Watson,
Oh, yeah.
Macho, yeah. You definitely got mine as well, Jess. Jess, it has been such a blessing to have you on the show. You are such a talented maker, and we are so glad to have you in our community. And I will tell you, we're going to be running over to your table at Blade Show and get to know you more. And hopefully we can share a meal or something with you while we're there.
That would be awesome.
We're going to spend the rest of this fall, winter, and spring getting to know you on the Knives Templar podcast messaging group. And I certainly look forward to it. So welcome to the Templars. And we're certainly glad you're here and took the time to share yourself with us because you're a pretty cool dude in my book. So welcome.
Yeah, man.
Welcome to the Templars.
Welcome.
Having fun.
Absolutely.
Be blessed.
Thanks,
Enjoy your
Jess.
weekend.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Glad to have you here, man.
Yep.
He's good. He's really good. That guy makes some beautiful blades. I mean, you go out to his website and it just makes me hate him.
Yeah, he makes some nice blades. That's for sure. And he makes a lot of different styles. That's what's really cool. You know, it's not all the same stuff.
I don't want to use the term production maker, but you know, looking at his knives, the quality of them is like if you went into a Smoky Mountain Knife Works in Sevierville, Tennessee, which is I don't know if you guys know about that place or not, but a real famous place. And if you went in there, I mean, his knives would just stand up against the production knives, the professional knives. I mean, there's just a professional edge to them. Yeah, we're lucky to have him in the knife making world. He's really accomplished a lot in the 11, 12 years he's been doing this. So yeah, he's good to have as a friend because, as you know, us friends, we all wear off on each other. So, and interesting, I want to go out there and watch the videos also because he said that he, grinds backwards, so to speak. And I want to see just a little bit about what he's talking about there. So that seemed cool as well.
Yep.
From the point back to the ricasso. So anyway, hey, let's take a second and let's talk about our buddy Eric Rivers over at the Rivers Experience. We'll be right back. Hey guys, what was your source of inspiration when you first decided to make knives? You know, many go to the books and also some go to the web, but many also head to YouTube for videos. Well, we are fortunate enough to have Eric Rivers from the Rivers Experience as a co-host on the Knives Templars. But you know what? He's also a sponsor. And I tell you, 27,000 followers can't be wrong in following his skilled and educational regular videos that teach the fine arts of making beautiful knives. I know because I'm a subscriber to his channel and I learned at my pace and without making those mistakes by walking in the dark regarding knife making. Be sure and check out his channel, The Rivers Experience, on YouTube or his website at theriversexperience.com. And now back to our show. So, hey guys, go out and visit Eric over at The Rivers Experience, or you can also visit his website, theriversexperience.com, and see his knives he's making. But this guy is fully spread out across the knife making world, and just a good guy to be around. He's fun. So Eric, Knife Talk Tuesday's back up and running. Quite exciting here lately. I know that the shop is getting completed. I've seen some doors going on, but you've shifted back into knife maker mode. How's that feel?
Man, it feels absolutely great. It's so nice to have my my knife shop back, or at least that section of the knife shop, being able to forge and do all that.
Still working on your big door?
Yes. Yeah, still working on that. And I will have it sealed off, hopefully within the week. And then it'll be a shop, because then I can start putting up the walls, the interior walls and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, it's gorgeous. How I don't think we've spoken too much about it. Tell us a little bit about this latest build you've got on Shop Talk Tuesday. I know you've been forging out some steel out of stock, of course, but it's just a gorgeous blade.
So I wanted to kick off the series. I'm doing a forge series to where pretty much the next 6 episodes for the Shop Talk Tuesdays are all going to be forged to profile. And some forge to finish builds, the whole goal is to be able to get to a point to where, you know, I can pick and choose whatever style of knife that I want to make, whether it be a kukri or whether it, you know, a Bowie or a, you know, a chef's knife, any of those things. And I can forge everything in to where if I need to do any grinding, it's very minimal. And it's just doing everything by hand and putting a real cool finish on a knife that is just super resilient. And this last one was really cool because, you know, I've worked on forging flat and smooth and everything like that, but being able to forge in symmetry and make sure that when you do plunge lines with that hammer and an anvil, that you can actually get them even and crisp. That's been a thing that I wanted to do for a really long time. And the last one that I did, I was able to accomplish that to where whenever you actually look down through the tang at the ricasso, going into the plunge lines and into the actual cutting edge, it looks like I did it with a grinder. I mean, it is perfectly even, perfectly straight. There's no waves to the blade, and I have not done anything to straighten it. So it's the finish and the handle, where the handle scales are attached. Everything on that knife is just from the forging process. And coming out of the heat treat, it was perfectly straight. Temper, perfectly straight. I didn't have to try and tweak anything, move anything. And that was really cool because, you know, back in the days, they didn't have 2x72s. You know, you forged the knife.
Yep.
And being able to have that skill was something that I wanted to have for a very long time. So I watch any video that Neil Kamamura puts out. He is one of my favorite knife makers that has ever existed.
He has extreme talent.
Extreme. I mean, it is just beautiful knives, and his forge to finish and his brute to forge knives and chef's knives and just all kinds of different stuff. I love his hammering. I love all kinds of ways that he does things. And, you know, one of the things that he said that he did whenever he wanted to get into knife making was he just forged knife after knife after knife after knife after knife until he was 100% confident in what he does. And I'm going to put myself through that, and I'm going to forge a lot of knives.
Well, you know what they say: repetition creates Thank you, Luke. Repetition creates insanity. Luke, I don't have Alzheimer's. I just have an older brain. I have to wait until they get out.
My mentors tell me the same thing. They say if you're not happy with your quality now, with the quality of knife you've made, make 20 more. And if you still have the same issue, make 20 more. That's just keeping up with making, getting comfortable on the grinder, not losing your touch, and just making as many as you can. Eventually, the obstacles and issues you have had in the past will just slowly go away, and you'll get more perfect with your craft.
Yeah. I can attest to that. You know, over the past year and a half, 2 years, give or take, where I've been taking this a bit more serious, I definitely notice an increase in my skills, especially on the freehand grinding and refinishing and plunging and all of that stuff. I mean, it's the more you make, the better you're going to get at it. I mean, I don't think you can get it to a point where you can say I did enough that is perfect, but it's close to it, right?
Yeah.
You know, I used a jig on my second knife today, and I almost felt like I was cheating. And maybe have you guys gotten to that point where you step up to something?
Use them.
I'm not against. I'm not against using it, and I think you're a knife maker whether you do or not. But interestingly enough, I was like, "Why am I using this jig? Why don't I just freehand it?" And I went ahead and used the jig anyway. But it was just kind of a neat feeling to say, "Hey, I've got this thing where." Now I can say, hey, why don't I do it this way rather than the other? I've got the options, and I didn't feel like I was cheating. I just felt like I'm at a point where, hey, I look forward to being able to do it by hand.
So with my knives, so I always tell people if you want to use jigs, use jigs. But the only reason why I don't is because my knives are I do a lot of one-offs, and a ton of them have a bunch of different characteristics to it that really wouldn't work with many jigs. I use my plunge line jig just because I like having that stop whenever I go up to the edge of the platen and things like that. And plus, it's also a heat sink, and it gives me something extra to hold on to. You know, whenever I'm using that works as a really good heat sink. So my hand that's on the tang, I can grind for longer with the plunge line jig on there, and it just works out.
When you say a
for me.
plunge line jig, are you talking about a file guide or something different?
No, so like the file guides, those are great. The ones that have the carbide edges on them and everything like that. But for me, I don't really use them. I made my own plunge line jig, and I really like how it works.
Does it get chewed up at all? Does it get chewed up at all?
Not really. No, they because they don't ever really touch the belts. I don't bump it up close enough that it actually hits the belt, hardly ever.
I noticed with the one that I got, it was an inexpensive one because I wanted to try it. And of course, I have a little overlap on the belt. When I go up, I just noticed it's, kind of gouged it out just a little bit. Of course,
you have the carbide one or just
no. I bought one less than $50 off of Amazon just to try it. And then I thought, well, I've got enough steel that I can actually make one, from it, which is what I'll end up doing. But I was just curious, do y'all get a lot of grinding out of the steel when you're using those file guides?
Well, for the one I use for my plunge lines, it has a carbide insert, so I can put it right there on the belt and no issues.
Oh, okay.
But if you have just a regular hardened steel, I mean, it's going to go through. So
eventually it's going to wear on it. Yeah.
So,
I figured that was just part of it if that's what you're doing. But they're easy enough to make, and there's always enough leftover steel to set and make something like that.
Yeah.
So we have reached the point in the hour and 37 minutes in, guys. Got time for a couple questions. What do you say?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
If I can help it, yeah.
Well, I've got Adam this week, and he sent in a question. He says, hey, guys, I have messed up an etch on my mark on my blade. I used DC electric etch, and my template moved. What's the best way to get it off? I always use a touch mark before, so grind it off and re-etch my blade?
It depends how deep is your etch.
Yeah, if you can't sand, go ahead.
Yeah, I just had to do that. I etched one, and it leaked down. The fluid leaked down underneath that to what I had, and then, man, that's probably 4 little black spots, man. So I had to go back and regrind the blade and just start over again. So yeah, I mean that's what I had to do. So I don't know if Eric might know a better way.
So it's sadly either make a bigger maker's mark or you could sand it. Sometimes you really don't have to grind it out. You could just use a little more aggressive sandpaper and
that's what I was
just
thinking. Go
back and sand it out. Now some people use both AC and DC. One etches deep, one etches dark, and that's the whole point. Like you can switch it over so that depending on if you want a dark etch or if you want a deep etch. And but I mean it happens. You could always just make sure and turn the DC side off and not have to worry about that.
I have a great solution.
Yeah, just sand it.
I have a great solution. He needs to go to Berg Knife Making on YouTube and get out his Cricut and start cutting out some templates and do a nice, deer and forest scene on the side of that knife. So kind of like covering up a tattoo. So
I thought about that. I thought about doing it. It looks good. I kind of like it.
Have you seen some of Berg's stuff where he does those scenes on the sides of knives?
Oh yes. Yes.
Oh,
Those, and then the people that do like the like movie scenes where they take
Yeah.
layers of paint, they like paint it, and then they go in and they scratch off all the little layers, do one layer of etching, then scratch off another layer, do another layer of etching, and scratch off another layer. And
yeah, I've seen a couple of YouTube channels doing it. It's pretty good. It's really nice.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. He could do a 24-hour soak like you did on your YouTube challenge knife and come up with something uniquely looking. Who knows? Yeah, I would just say, I liked your idea of make a bigger maker's mark or try and if you can't sand it out.
It depends also what kind of a maker's mark do you have. I mean, if it is something like I do where it's just Pinto there, I cannot make anything bigger with that. I mean, I would have to either scrap the knife or I don't know, just keep it as a unique piece with a defect on the maker's mark.
Yeah.
Because I do etch pretty deep, right? I don't like the dark finish, so my etching is deep, and you wouldn't be able to take it out without really damaging the blade. Yeah.
Well, I will tell you on one of my early knives, I didn't have enough border around my logo to go in and etch it out, and ended up with this little etch burn spot on it outside of the old Bigfoot walking through the trees, but it was in a perfect position. So I used my leather punch and cut a perfect little circle and put it over that spot and then etched it away. And I called it my it was a Skookum or something, full moon edition. It was full moon. It's still. If you go out there and look on my website, it's still out there. It's one of the first knives I made. And
gotta be creative, man. Gotta be creative. Those little mistakes will sometimes make a big difference, and it makes it even better sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good idea, though. I mean, do that and call it good. That's a good way to correct it. That's smart.
Well, the guy who got it was just tickled.
Acid etch it. If you mess up, you can go ahead and just acid etch the blade again.
Yeah,
acid etch it, stone wash it.
Yes, stone wash it.
Yeah, just rock tumble the heck out of it. Well, hey, Travis has come in here and said, I have a set of canvas micarta scales I'm working on, and I am curious if they need to be sealed with anything. I sanded them to 320. I didn't want to lose the grippiness. So after sanding the scales, I have a dull appearance. Is there something I can apply to improve the looks? And I haven't ever done any canvas micarta. You guys may have. What do you think about that?
Don and Eric take this one. I mean,
so the only way to make that look prettier is to sand it higher, because pretty much anything that you do that's going to gussy that up, that's going to make it look nice, is going to make it smoother. You know, trying to make a dull thing shiny. Typically, you got to, either buff the ever living hell out of it, or you can do a CA finish on it, CA glue, but you're going to have to sand that back. And then it's going to end up looking higher sanding on it. But really, let it be, and let that be the finish if you like the texture that's on it.
For sure.
I would say try some a little bit of steel wool, a little bit of WD-40.
Yeah, but that's going to make it smoother.
It will darken it, but I think WD-40 will, instead of using the oil-based, WD-40 will evaporate a little bit quicker, I've done them like that too, and it's going to darken a little bit, kind of get away from that. I know he's talking about if he sands it really well at 320 and then go in and take a little steel wool and buff it out with the WD-40, that might help. It may be a little bit, at first, maybe a little bit slick, but over time it'll dry out. Because WD-40 will dry out over time.
Right.
Yeah.
You try that.
And some items just don't lend themselves to being overly shiny or this, that, and the other. It's just, there's always a give and take on everything. And you use this material this time, and I think that, you live, you learn. There's always somebody for every knife.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I use G10. If you want a nice and shiny, I use G10. I take it only to 600 grit and buff it out. And, I like the overall finish. Don't really see the need to go to, say, 1,000 or 1,200. Never did it. I mean, 600 is good enough.
If you want those like finishes, when you go to Blade Show, it's interesting how many knives look fake because they're, and it's weird saying fake, but their scales almost look plastic because they are the glossiest, smoothest, like mirror reflective scales you'll ever see. And they almost look like a kid's toy with how shiny they are. They look like they were cast that way.
I'm not a real big fan of that look myself.
Yeah.
But, to each his own, though. To each his own.
Yes, absolutely. And, it's just the quality of what they do. Those people stand out to like 3,000, 3,500 grit on their handles, especially if they're using, $700 in mammoth tusk or ivory. Yeah. I guess it makes sense to go crazy like that. But for me, like on the knife that I just got done doing, the scales are stabilized pecan, spalted pecan, and I sanded it up about, I think that was 400 grit on that. And that's all it needed. I wanted it to have a nice smooth texture, but I didn't want to lose, the feel of that wood. And it was perfect for me. But not everybody's going to want that. Like you said, there's a seat there's a butt for every seat. There's somebody's going to like it, somebody's not going to like it.
Our viewers... that's one of the things about knife making, right? The reason I go about my things the way I do is I will make what I want and I like to make. And if somebody likes it, well, if you don't like it, oh well, you're gonna find something that you like. I mean, right? I mean, and that's the same thing with the finishing for the handles. I mean, I wish Joey was here because he does a lot of micarta, and he would probably be able to give us a better answer there. But if you want a nicer finish on micarta, you would have to go finer grit. Yeah. But then you lose the texture.
Did y'all see me waving my knife around?
Yeah, I did. Can y'all see me at all?
No, not at all. Our listener, your upload's a little slow tonight. We'll have to make sure we get you fully uploaded at the end. But I'll tell you, our listeners can't see this, but every week, everybody's like flashing their knives on the video and this, that, and the other. And I never think to bring one, so I've usually got like these little baby scissors that are sitting beside here and flash them. So I actually brought my knife tonight, and I'm flashing it. And well, I had to pull that out of you because nobody said anything up to this point. So anyway, let's take a moment and listen to the folks over at Majestic Forge.
Majestic Forge is owned and operated by Brian and Kayla Horn in Rushville, Ohio. With many years of experience manufacturing 2 to 5 burner gas forges, Majestic Forge is your #1 source for blacksmith forges, farrier forges, and specialty forges. They are dedicated to creating top-of-the-line forges at a price you can afford. Majestic Forge has supplied forges to blacksmith schools, high schools, colleges, production shops, and TV shows such as Mythbusters. And Majestic Forge is the forge of choice for televisions forged in fire. Knife makers are in luck as they offer forges that come with 2 or 3 deluxe burners. Here at Knives Templars, we are sure that you can find a USA-made Majestic Forge to suit your needs. Check out your next forge at majesticforge.com.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome back. And I will tell you, I used that Majestic Forge of mine a couple separate times today. And I tell you what, it is a tool that you can count on. And if you don't use a heat treat oven, you're using a forge to do your heating. I tell you what, it's consistent. I set my temperature with a handheld thermometer gun and get it in there and get it set my knife off to the side and let it soak and quench. And I tell you what, I'm getting some uniform hardness every time. So whether you're forging blades, whether you're forging already made steel, already finished steel, or you're just heat treating knives, you can't go wrong with a Majestic Forge. Hey guys, let's move on to a couple last things here as we're winding down the episode. got a little bit of time, we want to talk about something is how do we determine the cost of a knife you have for sale? So that could last. That could be an episode in itself, but we'll try and keep it in under 10 minutes. So who wants to kick that one off? Determining the cost that you or what you charge for one of your knives. How do we do that?
So before I talk, Otis here, how much do you charge for your knives?
Right now, I'm not selling them, so I don't know. The thing that my teacher told me was look at the market and see what everybody else on your skill level are charging for those knives that are approximately the same level as you are, right? I mean, if you are a master, of course, you're going to be charging super high money. Or let's say you just started yesterday and you just, making a simple little knife, you're not going to be charging top dollar even, right? So you have to look at the market and see what the market is doing. I mean, I would like to charge $2,000 on every one of my knives. For me, they are worth it. The problem is me being an unknown, right? I can't really go out there and say, I want X for my knife. So, I look around and have a little bit of profit on my work, and I got to pay for materials, and I'm happy. I don't plan to become a millionaire doing this. It's just
yeah. I just want to sell 2 $100,000 knives a year.
Oh, me too.
Hey, and Don, how much do you typically charge for yours?
About $1,200.
That's good.
Look at Eric. I think I got a good friend of mine that's really supported me in my knife making, and he's bought, fixing to be 6 knives already.
Me too.
And I told him, I said, buy them now.
Buy 10, get the 11th free.
Yeah. And he just been real supportive. In fact, he ordered 2 more from me, but they're different style knives. He kind of wants a boning knife for deer hunting, and he wants another one for him and his son-in-law. So, but I told him, I said, you better buy them now, because as my craft grows and better at it, I said, now I'm really just kind of gifting it to you, because the time, there's no way he can afford the time that I spend on a knife. Yeah. So, but it does replenish my supplies. It does replenish my, my belts and stuff like that. So, 175 is what I average get, about 175 to 200. So,
and with how much time would you put into one of those $175 knives?
Oh man, I kind of dialed it down, because when I do my signature knife, I have a signature knife now. I do like 4 at a time. And someone asked me the other day, he goes, how long it take you to make this knife? I said, man, I do not know. I never really sat down and said, okay, cut it out, drill it out, grind it out, heat treat it, temper it, come back and regrind bevels, and then handle on. I said, I've never thought about it. I never, I'd say it'd have to be an hour, probably 10 hours maybe.
Yeah.
Total on that.
Yeah, from the actual start to finish.
Probably about 9 to 10 hours. You can't add heat treat, because heat treats early about 5 hours on heat treat and tempering.
Yeah. And tempering, you're not really doing anything. Your oven's doing what it's got to do on there. So when it comes to the way that I typically price my knives, it's primarily based on, the way that I always look at it is, if I'm going to devote time to it, I would prefer that somebody pays for that time. The hard part for me is whenever I make a one-off custom, I don't have a customer in mind whenever I'm making that knife. Again, like Otis here said, I'm just making what I think looks awesome. And if I post those, sometimes they'll be on the website for a month and a half. Sometimes they'll be on the website for 2 days. If I make standard EDC knives, those are gone the day. that I put them on my website. But you can only make so many EDC knives before you're like, all right, I gotta do something else. If I wanted to go, if I wanted to go full-time knife making, I would just make EDC knives, camp knives, and camp steak knives, and I would sell them all the time forever. But the way that I look at it is I will put a little bit of the amount of money that I want for it in the materials category. What the steel cost me that I'm going to use, what the handle material cost me that I'm going to use. I know that I'm going to have to go through some consumables like belts, adhe- all the things that with that. But when it boils down to it, you can make a good high quality knife with less than $100 in materials. And that's with doing, steel is not expensive. So the handle scales sometimes cost more than the steel.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely.
So the way that I would break it down, I would have by default about $100 into just the materials. And let's say we're going to price out an EDC knife that I would sell. I know that the materials for the knife and the sheath are going to cost me about $100. So by default, I'm not going to sell it for less than $100. I know that I'm going to have about, like you said, about 10 hours into a normal EDC / camp knife. Be about 10 hours and start to finish on that. And I'm not going to sell a knife that doesn't have a sheath. I give the customers the option to have a Kydex or a leather sheath. And whenever they order their knife, I ask them to tell me in an email which one they would prefer, Kydex or leather, and then I make the sheath. And they give me about a week and a half lead time to go ahead and make that sheath before I ship it out to them. But if I'm going to make an EDC camp knife, it's going to be priced at about $350 to $400. And the whole point behind that is it's right in the category of what a good handmade, EDC camp knife should be priced at. You have some people who are mastersmiths that can charge $650 to $800 for one of those. If you go on to some of the forums like the Lords of Steel, they have these dark timber customs knives that they sell on there, where they'll have an EDC knife that has like 6 different scales that were CNC made for it, and all these different things. But people are selling those for $1,200 and $1,400, and they're just EDC knives that no one's ever used. They just keep them in their little box on a shelf. I don't want my knives to be that way. If you're charging $1,200 for your knife, someone's going to keep it like it is the coolest thing they've ever owned, and they're never going to use it. So I figure right at that $350 to $400 range, it's a good price. If you buy a decent knife off of Amazon, a good little folder, stuff like that, they're going to be $150 to $200. And those are, dime a dozen type knives. So if you're getting a one-off custom that you're going to have the only one that's exactly like it, $350 to $400, that pays me, if I was just charging per hour, about $30 an hour. And some people might think that that's a lot of money, but it's really not for the amount of work that we do and the going rate of what people work for just in general nowadays. $30 an hour really isn't much. For me, I get kind of lucky because if I make a knife, I also get the revenue off of YouTube because I'm going to release a video or two about that knife. And that's going to pay me by default from my YouTube revenue. And then I'm also going to have the knife sell. But the way that I look at it is, again, I should be making about $30 an hour to make a knife. I'm not asking for 50 or 60 or 70. And I'm at a point now to, I've made enough knives that I know that the heat treat's going to be right. I know it's going to have the right edge retention. I know it's going to have the right edge geometry for what we're making it for. I know it's going to have the right ergonomics that a knife should have. So if someone gets one of my knives, they're going to have something that's going to be comfortable, easy for them to use. Now, when this stuff changes, my knives that I make specifically for people, the commission pieces, typically go for about $200 to $300 more than that. And part of that is I'll actually figure out their hand size. So the width of their hand, I'll figure out what's going to be comfortable for them. So I'll actually make the handle the size of their hand to where it's how it needs to be for them. They get to pick all the materials, and I make it in whatever finish they want and things like that, but within my flair. So typically the custom knives that are made through commission pieces are more expensive than the knife that I make that I think is cool and put it on my website.
All right.
Let me say this. And this may sound a little pompous, and I don't want it to, but when you can go to the store and you can pay $300 plus, for almost $400 for a Benchmade knife, which are excellent knives, I don't have a problem charging what I want to charge, and I don't base what I charge on what other people charge, and nor do I care if someone is a master or a journeyman or whatever membership they've got in whatever organization, because while I respect greatly those designations, it doesn't change what I do from being a craftsman and an artist. And, I've talked a little bit on past shows about other things that I've worked in the past as far as like fishing lures and doing those professionally. So on my website, it says that my knives are $400 to $1,200, $400 to $1,200. And my average knife probably sells for, let's say, $700. And you may look at it and say, well, my gosh, that doesn't look like this guy's knife that's for $700. But I don't really care, because me as the salesman, the artist, the negotiator, and I don't negotiate very much. I put a price on something, and that's where it sets. You either want it or you don't. And no disrespect towards the buyer, but I base my prices solely on what I think a knife is worth, and I've never had a trouble selling one. And it amazes me that I can say, hey, this knife's $700, and have one say, well, you want bills or check, or how do you want to pay for it? And then I magically turn that into a pistol or a new rifle or something else. But the bottom line is, while I have figured out what it costs me in, this much for a belt, this much for sandpaper, this much for the different materials that we use, it doesn't even come close. Now, as a business model and, having, to form an LLC, I need to track that a much closer because of, doing taxes and such annually, as I'll be doing this, 2023. The bottom line is that I needed to know it from a business perspective, but from an artistic perspective, it's whatever the market's willing to bear. And then I'll just back off from that if it's not selling at that rate. But you get what you can get. It's like a camper or a car. You go out. I don't know. Do campers have a price and that's what you pay, or do you negotiate? I need to know.
Everything's negotiated when it comes to that stuff.
Oh, excellent. So, and knives can be negotiated as well, but maybe with Don Watson, but not with me. The sticker is the sticker.
The sticker is the sticker.
Hey, Don, quit dumbing down your knives and charge a lot more than what you're charging right now.
Well, you got to figure and what I charge my friends, they're good friends.
Oh, no, I do the same thing.
And family, too. I've had quite a few family people buy my knives. I sold quite a few knives. And I just feel like, I'm retired, so all I wanted to do is learn to make a knife that somebody's going to use.
Yeah.
I've never been one to. I've been a maker for all my life, and I've always made things people use.
Yeah.
So. But I was telling my friend the other day, he drew out a knife, and so he wanted to know if I could build something like this. And I told him, I said, yeah, I think I can do that. And I'm working on it now. He wanted Georgia Bulldog red handles on it, red and black.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah, and so I found them. I got it from Pops, G10, and it's pretty much right on the color too,
Well, you're right there in Georgia territory.
And but no, just I sell a knife like that. I know, $175. You say, my gosh, man. But number one, they're family or friends. Another thing too, while I'm learning my craft,
you've already learned, Don. You've learned already,
me,
Don.
They're paying me. They're paying me to learn. And
well, let me say this. I do agree with the friends and family discount, but it has to be a close friend. As a matter of fact, I had somebody that said, well, how could a friend agree? I hear you got a friends and family discount. And I always say, you know what? That ran out on the 30th of last month. I am so sorry. but then if it is someone, I'm a religious person, and I believe that God empowers us to bestow our gifts upon others. And sometimes I do that through knives. I don't want anybody run up and say, God bless you, can I have a knife? Because that doesn't work that way.
No.
But I've given people knives that least expected it as a gift, or I've given them such an excellent price on a knife that, it was almost like going to the Sunoco and grabbing something off the rotisserie of knives. But that's pick and choose, and people that mean something in your life that you want to bestow that blessing or that gift upon them, and whether it's a small charge or free of charge. But I hear exactly what you're saying, Don. I'm just saying, get a website, man, because you've got thousands of dollars to be made.
Yeah, you'll be able to sell them. I will say this: one of the biggest things that I struggle with is not trying to sell the knives, but it's selling them. So not because nobody wants to buy them, it's because I started making knives as a knife collector, and I've been collecting knives for a very long time, and now I can make whatever knife pops into my head. The hard part is for me going, okay, I'm going to put it on the website. I'm like, but I don't want to sell it. I don't want to keep it.
I have the hardest time closing the box on knives, sometimes realizing that's the last time I'm going to see that knife.
Yeah.
I've pulled knives back out of the box to take another picture of it because I'm going to literally miss that knife. I sent a culinary knife off a week ago that I feel that way about. But, hey, if you're going to be sanding knives, what's your favorite abrasives to use?
All knife makers need abrasives, plain and simple. Here at Knives Templars, we're proud to partner with Phoenix Abrasives. I used to get my belts from another company, but they spent more time on marketing than they did customer service, sometimes taking 2+ weeks to ship my order. That's not the case with Phoenix Abrasives. They're obsessed with committing all of their resources to customer satisfaction. Whether you're using a 2x72, 2x42, 1x30, or something else, they've got you covered. They even carry Rhino wet sandpaper. So go to phoenixabrasives.com/shop and enter promo code Templars10 for 10% off your next order.
All right, so I will tell you, I know how much Phoenix charges for abrasives, and they're some of the best prices out there. And not only that, they get them to you promptly. And I do believe if you do a Templars 10 in the when you're checking out, you'll get 10% off of your belt. So thank you to the guys over at Phoenix for that. Guys, you about ready to wind it down?
Let's do it.
All right.
Yep.
Let's so the next 2 weeks, what are we doing tomorrow? And I'll start off real quick. I'm going to be watching SEC Network to see if Alabama can bounce back from that loss last week. Oh, gosh, help us. But anyway, you got to lose humbly sometimes, even if you win humbly all the time. So good for Tennessee. That's all I have to say. Go SEC. And it's always good to see a team come back. So roll Tide, though. We'll be back tomorrow. Don, what you got going on?
I gotta finish up a couple of knives for another guy, and then I think we're gonna spend some time with the grandkids. I think grandkids will be coming over tomorrow or Sunday, so But man, enjoying this beautiful weather, man.
Oh yeah, I love grandkids, man. They're the best gift from God, that's for sure.
They are a gift.
Otis, what you got going on this weekend, brother?
Gotta double check with my wife, but I think we're going to Harper's Ferry. Spend the day there.
Yeah, I like Harper's Ferry. That's a cool place to go.
Yep. Old town, really neat little slice of old America. You know, some old buildings made out of stone and mortar. You know, it's pretty cool. I've been there quite a few times. And
bet you take your camera with you.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
And there's a trail there. There's 2 miles pretty much all the way up. So we're going to be hiking up into the top of the rock so I can take a look at the little old town from the top and take some pictures. I mean, I posted a couple of pictures about 2 weeks ago. You know, but the leaves were still a bit too green for my liking. So I think we're going there tomorrow.
Be sure and carry your bear blade in case, because they're not all hibernated yet. They're just
we don't have those here in Maryland. We might have a different kind of bears running around, like 2-legged bears running around, but those are easy enough to deal with.
Bigfoots. All right. Man, I hope you enjoy your weekend.
No, I will.
Pleasure having you. You're a good friend.
Yeah.
Eric, what's going on in Texas? It's hot.
It is hot. It's going to be a little bit cooler going into next week. But yeah, it's going to be 95 tomorrow. So not excited about that, but
95.
I've got to put some more work onto this sheath and get it finished up so I can put this video out. I wanted to try and get the sheath for the fantasy build done by this Friday, but work has been absolutely crazy, and I had to wrap my head around how exactly I was going to do this because, each time I've made a leather sheath, I've stepped it up and I've stepped it up and I've stepped it up to where right now I'm just, the hardest part about making some of these sheaths is figuring out the process that you're going to do to put it together.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, where am I going to cut this out? Because it's going to have a fur inlay, like a fur section on it. So I had to make the sheath is almost 1 inch thick at its thickest point.
Yeah, I saw you were stacking a lot of leather for that.
Yeah, and I've got to do wedges in the welt area so that it flares out to larger, getting closer to the handle, and it fits in right. So this is my first time doing that. So it's going to be cool, but I've got to work on that, and I've got to forge and finish the next Shop Talk Tuesday knife. So I think I'm teetering between a drop point, just a nice drop point like camp knife or EDC, or doing a chef's knife. I know that a lot of people like my camp chef's knives. So
I'd like to see that. I don't know if I recall one. Be cool.
Yeah, the last one that I did that was a camp chef was the one that I made with the cut in the big old tomahawk steak.
Oh yeah. I do.
It was like a smaller size camp chef knife.
You need to make a camp petty knife. A petty knife.
Yeah. This next one's going to be like a 9-inch long blade, just the blade section, camp chef. It's going to be a big old son of a gun, and it'll have that brute to forge finish, but maybe like a hybrid between that and grinding. I don't know just yet. Whenever I get out there and I start looking at what I kind of want to do, I'm going to do that. Now, next week's, not this one that's coming up this Shop Talk Tuesday, but the week after that, I think I'm going to make a forged version of that lion killer.
Oh, wow. I saw somebody else that's done that. That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
so
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to do that.
I tell you, I love that current knife with that forged finish on it. It's just gorgeous. So I'll send you an address to send that over to, and I have a feeling that's one you'll probably keep, but it's a gorgeous blade. Hey, Luke, what are you going to be doing this weekend? I don't know, Chip. I bought $1,000 computer and I can't connect to the internet. Okay, well, we hope you get that worked out and come back with us on the Knives Templars. Go Apple. No, Luke got himself a new computer, and unfortunately, just as I did when I got my MacBook Air, there's some connectivity issues with microphones and stuff. You kind of have to work out with Google Chrome so it will accept the equipment technically. So anyway, Luke, hey, thank you for that investment. I know Don's made some investments in his technology as well to bring up our game and provide a better experience for our listeners. And with the listeners in mind, guys, we can't do it without you. We love our sponsors and we love the feedback from our listeners. So thank you from each one of us, and we look forward to hearing you. We look forward to, what do we look forward to doing? We look forward to seeing. We're not going to see them. We look forward to
talking to them in the future.
We look forward to putting this out again in the future. Them. I don't know. Hey, guys, we'll see you on the next episode of the Knives Templars. Good night.
Yeah, man.
Yay.
Good night, y'all.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
As knife makers, we all know the importance of quality handle material. Something that's both tough yet beautiful will increase the value of your knives and allow you to build something that your customers will love. When it comes to the handle material for my knives, I choose Swikowski Scales. Run by Sarah Halpane and her mentor Alex Swikowski, they have a combined 20 years experience making handles and knives. They offer stabilized burls, exotic hardwoods, vintage micartas, and some of the best segmented scales in the business. Find them on Instagram at Swikowski Scales or on their website, swikowskiscales.com. That's SWIECZKOWSKI scales.com.
After show. Luke's got some new equipment. Don's got new equipment. We'll get it all worked out. This is a journey. It's not a race to excellence, but I do love how we're growing. I'm really seeing a lot of our older episodes are starting to pick up downloads. When I think about it, I'll send you guys the stats. But that's really interesting because people are going back for the first time and listening from the beginning and moving forward. And thank goodness they don't go, what in the world is this on this first episodes we did? Volume up and down, but they stuck with us. So, and you can see where the Maker's Mark took off, that you really see that listenership. So thanks to Pops and our idea to do that. That was pretty cool. So
Chip, how do we share this on Instagram to people in your group on Instagram?
I guess you would just copy the link is what I would do. I haven't copied one to Instagram. I do most of it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And
I think I did it a couple of times when Chip posted the link on to the chat group.
Yeah.
And you go to the cast as you start listening. You have a couple of options there on the bottom there for share and whatever. And when you press share, you have options to where you want to do it.
You can just copy the link, and then you just copy and paste it into wherever you go.
Yeah, I may do that.
Hey, Eric.
Yep.
Somebody's daddy needs them. Is that you, Eric?
Yeah, they're in the hallway.
Well, they can speak to you. It's okay. It's the after show.
Oh, no. No, they're good.
Okay. All right.
I am at 31%.
Yeah, we're going to have to make sure we're uploaded. But, hey, why do all campers come with a bed stuck in the front of it? What happened to a table to set and a window to look out the front, the front of the camper, not the sides, the front, and that thing lays down and makes a bed? Why do they all have to have a queen bed stuck in the front, of the camper now?
They pretty much all just are maximizing the amount of a sleeping area. So pretty much if it's a If it's a table, it turns into a bed. If it's a
Oh,
bed,
I'm okay
it turns
with that.
into a biggest bed. And if it's a set of stairs, they're like, we could put a bed there.
Yeah.
It's like, this is where the AC goes. Why don't we put a bed there too?
The black water tank. I think we can get a bed down in there.
Definitely a bed in there. They are trying to make some of these campers to where they sleep like 12 people and they're 15 feet long. It's like you can't line 12 people up in a 15-foot long thing.
I just want a 1976, 2022 version of you walk in to the right. There is a 2 bench seats and a table that breaks down into a bed with a window out front so you can look out your camper and look at your little lights hanging on your little thing that swings out. And then there's a bathroom on the right, a kitchen on the left. You go back, maybe there's a couple bunks, and that doesn't exist anymore. Everything's going to have a slide out.
Now they do make a few of the Jaycos that are simple like that, and then they make some Forest River micro lights. That the way that they're set up is pretty cool. They have like Murphy beds.
I've seen the Murphy beds, but again, that's getting advanced for me.
But you walk in, and to the right, you have just a bench couch area. In front of you, you have a slide out that is just the dinette. And then you have your kitchen.
I do like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you have your kitchen to the left of you and the bathroom back off at the end of the trailer. But these are typically like 26 feet. They're typically about 6,000 to 7,000 pounds. But the nice thing about the Murphy bed is it sits up above and behind the little bench couch that you have to the right. So whenever you're in there, it's just hangout room. And then when it comes time to go to bed,
I just want 2 bench seats and a table, though.
Pop the bed down. Well, the nice thing is for this, it's just on struts. So all you do is you just
I've watched the videos. I just want old school. I want old school. I don't want to grow up.
They are not doing that anymore because, again, they're trying to make it to where you can have a comfortable mattress. Because nowadays people are used to sleeping on super comfortable mattresses.
Nobody wants to go camping anymore. They just want to go hang out in their little condo on wheels.
That's exactly what
Jayco,
it is.
You say
Jayco.
Now, is the quality of Jayco improved?
Yes. Yeah, Jayco's awesome. We have, because the thing that I do for my job is literally everything, but whenever we get a unit that comes in,
you put out fires all day long.
Yes. Well, yeah, I actually do because I also talk to all the customers. So whenever a unit gets here from the manufacturer, gets to the dealership, I'm the first person that goes through it and makes sure that all the stuff was put together right. Make sure that nothing's bent, nothing's broken, there's no trim issues. I go through all of them and make sure that they're good. I do the first QC before it even goes to the PDI people who do the pre-delivery inspection.
Yeah.
I do the whole QC and then create a list of any of the issues that were with it before it goes anywhere. And it's any unit that goes in and out of my lot gets QC'd by me twice. It gets QC'd when it first gets dropped off, then it gets QC'd before the customer takes it by me. Partially because I do not trust the manufacturer. And even though my service department's amazing, they're never going to listen to this. I don't trust them either. So
I don't want to leak in shower. Yes. And I want you to send me whoever makes something close to what I'm asking for. And with that, we're gone.
Brought to you by Porkhouse Productions. Oinky oinky oinky.